Exchange. Jim Cramer joins us now. I don't think I can help myself, Jim. I made this point earlier about Comcast that the idea, and Becky brought up, the idea that the CFO, I guess he alluded to it like a month ago, that there might be a slowdown in certain parts of Comcast business. And it dropped from 61, 62 down all the way to, I think, 52, down 10, down a significant amount. Did this earnings report dispel any of the were the fears overblown, or is it still a big concern, do you think?
Well, I think it's going to do two things. One is it, for those who are rational, it tells you the fears are overblown. And two, for those who believe that there is an overall slowing and there's too much competition, they will not be appeased. And they will not be appeased until 60 to 62. That's when they'll capitulate and recognize they got it wrong. Obviously, I work for Comcast, but it is painful to see such a great quarter and realize that what's happening is that some companies are doing better than others, and some companies are taking share and other companies are losing share. But there's a moment, Joe, where everybody thinks that everything's bad. And so the people who have been silent, been behind the scenes saying that Comcast was going to blow it, at 60 to 62, they'll come in and say, you know what, I'm really warming up to Comcast.
So, Jim, you highlighted something, though. So it's the GDP. It's a 2% GDP. There are companies that are doing way better than a 2% GDP, and there are companies that aren't doing better than a 2% GDP, I guess.
I wish I could find companies that aren't doing better than 2% GDP. I wish some of these numbers, like the GDP number, were put together by ServiceNow, which we have on, or by Salesforce or by Adobe, because I think the numbers would be very, very different.
Measuring the wrong things, right?
I know people trade on this stuff. It's like the Labor Department. Who's it put together by? It's like hand tabulation. Again, it should be done by computer. I'm waiting for that part of the economy to be digitized. I don't know what the holdup is, but if we're digitized, I think you'd see that the economy's doing much better.
It really doesn't feel like a 2%. Unless you're talking Delta, once again, Delta, and I'm not talking about the airline, but unless you're talking Delta Plus or whatever the next one, that's the only reason I could see where, because everything else, there's things going on everywhere. Right. Travel, they say airline tickets are so cheap. I looked at some airline tickets the other day. They're not cheap.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, these aggregate numbers we now look at this as a digitized economy, except for the numbers that we get. And I think we're going to find out in a couple years, as departments go to a ServiceNow or go to a Salesforce or go to Adobe, go to Microsoft, that these numbers aren't tabulated correctly. Because I don't have any companies that are growing at that pace. I don't have any. I mean, you could argue that the autos, because they can't get the chips, maybe that's reflected in there. They're working flat out, though. But yeah, autos could be down 30% year over year. I guess that must be it, Joe.